evaluates past performance on any contract that's over 100,000. And they typically look at what your sales are to commercial companies. So, for example, the government expects the best price from you. And in GSA's schedule, they really hold your feet to the fire. So when you upload your proposal to the government in GSA e-offer, they will have you submit all your prices and your descriptions of all your products and all this other kind of stuff. But then they also say to you, for each one of these products, who have you sold this to who's your most favorite customer for this particular product? So what they're asking you is if you're selling to Walmart and they buy 100,000 units from you and you give them a 40% discount, the government expects to be that same most favorite customer and get that same 40% discount. They may only buy 2 items from you, or they may buy 100,000 from you. But they want to achieve that same discount that you're giving your most favorite customer. Now, if you're giving Department of Justice a 40% discount, they don't require you to change your prices based on Department of Justice. So in other words, when you upload your offer to e-offer, you tell them who all your most favorite customer discounts are. When they look at their pricing that you're giving GSA for your products or services, they expect those prices to be equal to or less than your most favorite customer prices. So if you give Walmart a 40% discount on a particular product, you have to give them that 40% discount. When now you've won the contract and all your stuff is uploaded into GSA Advantage. Now you're running your GSA schedule. And you have a salesperson who goes to Target, and Target says, hey, I know you gave Walmart a 40% discount, I want a 50% discount. And if your salesperson agrees to that 50% discount, you have to go in and update your GSA schedule price to provide a 50% discount. If, however, Department of Justice, you've never done business with Department of Justice and you really want to get in there because you know it's going to be a lucrative market for you, so you're willing to take a hit on the cost for the first time around to be able to sort of get your foot in the door, so you undercut your price. If you do that and you give them a 50% discount, the government says fine. You don't have to change your GSA pricing. So as long as someone in the government is getting the best price, they're okay with it. But if somebody in your commercial marketplace is getting the best price, they want the same price. Anybody have questions about that? No. So what they're looking at in your past performance of contracts is what kinds of pricing have you provided, what kinds of service have you provided for your commercial items. If you look at FAR Part 12, you'll see the commercial items clauses, and those clauses are taken in conjunction with simplified acquisitions. So under a certain dollar threshold, the government can do simplified acquisitions for commercial items. So you can see, this is the main section that governs commercial items, but if there's anything, these other 3 clauses are the way the government procures things. They can do it by simplified acquisition, sealed bidding, or contracting by negotiations. We've been talking primarily about contracting for negotiations. Sealed bidding is when the government asks for an invitation for bid. You submit your final bottom line price for each product, and they do a public opening and make an award decision based on lowest price. And then simplified acquisition is there's a dollar threshold that the government has, and if you're buying something under that, they can use a simplified acquisition process to expedite this whole thing. So these are the sections of the FAR that govern each of these areas. So if there's so the way the government buys commercial items is either through simplified acquisition, sealed bidding, or contracting by negotiations. So that's why these 3 parts also play into it. But if there's anything here in these 3 parts that contradicts FAR Part 12, the government goes with FAR Part 12. Okay? What we say is that the FAR Part 12 has precedence. So in contract language, if there's ever a situation where one term disagrees with another term, like you can't do both, you have to do one or the other, the government, there's always a statement at the bottom that says, here's the order of precedence. And we interpret this clause to have higher importance than this clause. Government does the same thing. We talked about the difference between uniform commercial. Actually, before we do that, let's do this. What I'd like you to do is go to FAR Part 12 and no report outs. I just want you to read through it just so you understand what commercial item acquisition is all about.